Hi everyone, Stephanie with Mama Bear Inc. Welcome back to my YouTube channel for another card making video. If this is your first visit, thank you very much for stopping by, and I hope you'll consider subscribing. Today is not really a throwback video, but we are going to go back to a stamp set that came out last Christmas and is currently available in our annual catalog called Festival of Trees. And I chose to use this because the design of the card called for a tall, skinny stamp of some sort. And so I chose to use this pine tree image here, and we're going to be using the little pot to put him in. And that's what we're going to be using out of the Festival of Trees. Now, this card has a bunch of different layers, but don't worry about trying to keep track of them all on the video because I will have them all listed on my blog, and there's a link to my blog below. So what we're going to start out with is a base of the thick Whisper White cardstock, and this is cut 11 by 4 1/4, and I've scored it here at 5 1/2. And when we fold this over and burnish our fold, what we have now created is a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch top folding standard A2 size card that fits into Stampin' Up's medium size envelopes just perfectly. And on top of this, we have a layer of crumb cake cardstock. This is cut 4 by 5 1/4. And then we're going to need 5 strips of designer series paper. And I have cut my strips from both the Merry Moments and the Season of Cheer designer series paper packs. And these are cut 5/8 of an inch wide by 4 7/8 of an inch long. So you need 5 of those. We need another piece of just regular Whisper White cardstock. This is cut 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. No, I'm sorry. This is cut 3 1/2 by 3 3/4. And then another piece of regular Whisper White, cut 1 3/4 by 3 3/4. And I've got a teeny little piece of Mossy Meadow here, cut 3/4 of an inch by 2 inches. And then we just need a scrap of gold foil paper. And so that is all of our layers for this card. Now, the first thing that we're going to do to start putting it together is we're going to take our 5 strips of designer series paper, and we're going to flag the ends on these. And the easiest way I have found to flag the ends is using the 1-inch square punch. And I'll show you how I do that. And we need to be kind of careful how we do this because we want them all pretty much to match up. So the way I'm doing it is I'm putting it in here at the corner. And then I'm just going to square it up until just a little bit of the edges is out. And cut it just like that. And it might work if we cut a couple layers at a time. Let's try that. So I've got 2 more of the layers here, and just a little bit showing through. Square it up and punch. Here we go. And we'll put these 2 layers together. So now we have our 5 little strips, and they have been flagged at the ends. And we're going to take our piece, our regular piece of Whisper White, cut 3 1/2 by 3 3/4. And let's just, yeah, we're going to place it with the short side at the top. And then we're going to start figuring out how we're going to be layering our banners on here. And so we want just a teeny little bit of space at the top and on the sides, and then in between these guys. So just a teeny little bit. And I'm really just trying to determine what's going to be the center one, and I think it's going to be this one. So it'll be this paper, the plaid paper, this one will go in the center, then the stripe, and then the poinsettia again. Okay, I have my first banner down, and I took snail almost to the end of it, which I probably shouldn't do. And now I'm going to lay the rest of them in the order that I've chosen along this panel. All right, and so now I have this panel complete with the 5 flags, and I got kind of a boo-boo there, but that may not matter when we put the center panel on. So we are going to go ahead and take our crumb cake piece and center this up on that like so and lay it down, and if I don't send it flying across the table. So we've got our flags down there. And now we're going to take some crumb cake. This is stitched satin ribbon, and it's 3/8 of an inch wide, and it's in the color crumb cake. And we're going to take this right across the front, and I want a little bow over here. So I'm going to cheat like normal. Okay, so probably that much. So there we have that portion. And now I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. This is called a bow jig. And this is how I make bows because I cannot tie bows to save my life. And they're fairly inexpensive. You can buy them on the internet in most places. And they just allow you to make the cutest little bows so quick and easy, it will just blow your mind. And voila, my cute little bow, just like that. And we'll just cut off the ends here like that, and like that. And now we have our cute little bow that we can place on our card. But we're not going to do that just yet, because right now we are going to bring out our little piece of Whisper White. And this one was cut 1 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And we're going to bring in our Christmas tree stamp and Old Olive ink. And we're going to stamp this tree as close to the center of this as we can, but we're going to take the ink off the trunk a bit. We don't want the trunk all inked up there, because remember, it's going to go in the pot. So we're going to get this as straight as we can and as close to the center, both up and down and side to side, as we can. And stamp. Okay. And there is our Christmas tree. Probably could have done a little bit more trunk than I did. And now I've got the little pot that the Christmas tree sits in and some crumb cake ink. And we will stamp this just underneath where I left off on that trunk. Okay, it didn't turn out too bad. And now we're going to bring in our little piece of gold foil paper and the stars from our itty bitty punch pack. And I just want one little star punched just like that. And we are going to use a mini glue dot to put that at the top of our Christmas tree. Like so. All right, and our tree is done. And so now we're going to bring our card base back in, and we want our tree to be fairly central, but we want to make sure that we leave room for our little crumb cake bow as well. So we will probably be putting him down right about there. And next we are going to bring in our little piece of Mossy Meadow. And this little guy is going to go just to the side of the Christmas tree here. And we're going to be stamping our sentiment on there. And I know that you're saying, my gosh, that thing is only 3/4 of an inch wide and some of it has to go under the white. How the heck are we going to stamp anything on there? Hang on, I'll show you. We are going to bring in the stamp set called Teeny Tiny Wishes. This is available in our annual catalog. And one of the teeny tiny little stamps in here says, Merry Christmas. So we are going to be using that one on our little piece of Mossy Meadow. And we are going to be stamping Merry Christmas in Versamark ink and embossing it in white embossing powder. So we will, get ribbon everywhere. Bring in our Versamark ink. And remember, we're going to stamp this kind of close to the bottom. And we'll bring in our white embossing powder. I'm going to bring in my little tweezers here. And here is my white embossing powder, which I always seem to have on my desk these days. I'm going to cover that Merry Christmas in the white embossing powder. And then heat it with our heat tool until that embossing powder is completely melted. And there is our embossed teeny tiny little Merry Christmas. So let's go ahead and finish putting this card together now that I've warped all the papers. Okay, we are going to take a little bit of snail at the very edge of this Merry Christmas piece, like so. And we'll use our grid paper to help us line it up and keep it straight. Christmas tree piece over top. Nice and straight. All right. And now we are going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals to pop up our Christmas tree stamped piece. Once we have all of those off, we'll bring our card base back in and center up our Christmas tree here across the top and lay that down. Now we're going to grab our little bow and another glue dot, just like that, and place our bow here on the side of the card next to the tree. And just for fun, and because it happens to be on my desk, we're going to take some Cherry Cobbler Dazzling Details, shake it up pretty good here, and we are going to create some little Christmas ornaments on our tree. Just little dabs of it. And not too many, and I honestly work mostly in odd numbers. So there's 5, and we can do 1 right here. And we'll just do 1 right here. Well, do 1 right here. And that'll give us 7 little decorations. And we need to give that Cherry Cobbler a chance to dry. So now I've given this panel a bit of time to dry, and you'll see that the Cherry Cobbler dries very nicely, and we've just got some beautiful decorations on our tree. And our last step is simply to attach our decorated panel to the front of our top folding card base. And to do that, I am going to put the glue, or the, I'm sorry, this is snail. I'm going to put the snail on the card base and then bring the panel to the front here and just get it centered up. And that is going to complete our card for today. Thank you very much for coming and spending time with me. I've enjoyed hanging out with you, and I look forward to doing so again soon. Take care.